time for final thoughts, and yes, I will address the despicable display in Charlottesville this weekend.
Yes, it's time for Final Thoughts, sponsored by Toyota, where I will also be addressing the Charlottesville protest, but unlike you, Tommy, I won't be using this as a way to launch yet another insane attack at the left. But first, tell us how much you hate your fan base.
To think white supremacists still exist in 2017 is saddening, maddening, and disgusting. I have no association with these people.
I don't know about that.
President Trump has no association with these people.
I definitely don't know about that.
And the millions of hardworking and kind-hearted Trump supporters around this country have nothing to do with these people.
If you want to see how these people behave under the veil of anonymity, you can look no further than the comments section of my Instagram page. I've been getting death threats for the past 2 days.
In fact, I've seen almost every single prominent conservative, including our president, come out and denounce this ugliness head on.
Okay, first of all, it took Donald Trump 3 full days before he came out to declare that racism is evil. And since you made this video before Trump's press conference this morning and currently lack the capabilities of future seeing, let's talk about Trump's first reaction to Nazis parading in the streets.
This egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides.
I'm sorry, what? Hell no, there isn't! You have Nazis working side by side with Confederates. And then you have the good guys on the other side. That's 2 sides. This isn't fucking Game of Thrones. And by the way, it's not like Trump is known for measured, mild-tempered responses, so his neutral tone in this instance was absolutely deliberate. I mean, look at some of the subjects Donald Trump has been harsher on than Nazis. He called Mexicans rapists and thugs and murderers. He called New Hampshire a drug-infested den. He's called Rosie O'Donnell a pig.
I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired.
He's called mainstream media an enemy of the American people. He's even attacked Diet Coke. He said no skinny person drinks it. Donald Trump drinks Diet Coke. But when it comes to white supremacists and Nazis, who happen to be prominent vocal members of his voting bloc, we get deflection. The fucking Tiki Torch Company has shown more integrity denouncing neo-Nazis than Donald Trump has. But what do you have to say about that, Tommy?
And let me say this to all of you social media warriors out there.
You are broadcasting from your Honda Civic to Facebook. Newsflash, Tommy, you and I are both social media warriors. Although only one of us got fired from a TV network. that was you.
Who have gone out of your way to pin this on conservatives, on Trump supporters, on Republicans. You should be ashamed of yourselves. That kind of nonsense is uncalled for.
That kind of nonsense is uncalled for. I love this part. I genuinely love this part because you made a career pinning bullshit on liberals. You said Black Lives Matter is the KKK, and now that we're actually dealing with the KKK, you're still using this as an opportunity to attack the left. What good do you think you're doing? Especially when you use this violent racist attack that left 20 people wounded and killed Heather Heyer to go back and launch an attack on Antifa, as if counter-protesters were equally at fault?
If you want to call out violence and hate and lawlessness and bigotry, don't forget to include the so-called anti-fascists on your list. They're far from innocent in this, so let's hear you call them out too.
That's like saying the KKK and civil rights activists were both at fault for lynchings in the Jim Crow South. It's so disingenuous to, on the one hand, empower your Confederate fan base with your anti-immigration, anti-BLM rhetoric, and then briefly denounce Nazis, only to follow it up with, why won't the left denounce Antifa? As if fascists and anti-fascists are the same. This is exactly why these assholes no longer feel the need to wear robes and hide their faces, Tommy. They feel emboldened by commentators like you providing them cover with terrifying false equivalencies.
Let's hear you denounce the crap as well.
You literally just said I denounced Nazis for killing people, and then asked, why won't the left denounce the people protesting Nazis for killing people? Your reaction video is basically Donald Trump's original bullshit non-response drawn out to its logical limits, Tommy.
Where are the Democrats? After the violence at Berkeley and Portland and yes, Charlottesville. After the BLM riots in Ferguson, Baltimore, Baton Rouge, and St. Paul.
And then you paint a broad brush over all the left-wing activism and equate it back to Nazis beating black people with baseball bats. Here's why that's incredibly intellectually dishonest, even for you. Well, first off, because Nazis, duh, working side by side with Confederates. There were armed militia patrolling the streets with Confederate flag patches and Nazi patches like they're doing an ISIS-style hostile takeover. How is this the same? Can you imagine black people who can't protest without opposition even attempt to exercise their Second Amendment rights while protesting like this? You still shit on Colin Kaepernick for kneeling in his protest, and now you direct your crosshairs of blame at liberals?
Will you call out the violent left?
A fucking neo-Nazi drove from Ohio to Charlottesville to kill people and successfully drove his car into a crowd of counter-protesters like a goddamn terrorist. So yeah, let's call out the violent left when we have 18 Republican legislators who have introduced bills to make this act of terrorism legal. This is why there aren't many sides to this, Tommy. And it might seem like I'm attacking you, but I'm actually asking you for help. This is why we need people like you to issue condemnations without trying to lob back cheap shots against the left. Because you can't truly condemn Nazis and then claim that Charlottesville is no different from liberal protests. I want you to understand that, just like I understand that not all Trump supporters are Nazis. And look, talk of economic anxiety aside, it is undeniable that race has played an important role for some. And this administration is absolutely aware of that. Otherwise, it wouldn't take 3 days of bipartisan verbal tomahawks launched at them before coming out with a real statement of condemnation. This is why taking on white supremacy has to be a collaborative effort. And I call upon you, Tommy, and other like-minded conservatives to have these difficult conversations with your friends and fans. We always ask black people and Muslims to police their own communities, and the time has now come for white people to do the same. I'm Hassan Piker. Please share this video with your friends if you want to condemn Nazis without attacking the left. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Hassan D. Piker and on Twitter at Hassan the Hun. And this has been The Breakdown.